We should have started this whole thing when you walked in with the bottle of tequila. That's how we should have started this whole tequila situation.
Yeah, but that's a little bit more, that's our time. You know what I mean? That's our time. Now we bring it to the kids and all the wonderful, wonderful patrons of the world, especially from Massachusetts. Now, I was reading this morning an article about one specific gift for somebody that you know very, very well is enough. Because sometimes, it's been a couple of days, and quite frankly, I've missed you, and I'm super excited to see you.
We haven't made this Mike Hsu, Brent Smith, Mistress
We have not
Carrie
done
sandwich
this.
in like 5 years,
Long
right?
time.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get you a nice gift, and Mike, I feel like an absolute, just a horrible person now.
No, I'll have some shots out of that.
Yeah.
No, don't, that's fine.
But I know you well, and I know you like tequila. So I got you what I believe is a good bottle of tequila. You said it was a good bottle.
Yeah, it's a good bottle of tequila.
Nice. Have you all been?
Good.
How's the world treating you?
Oh, awesome.
Oh, well, let's just sit back, Mike, and let Brent interview us. Let's get comfortable.
Well, when I was a young kid, I was a little,
Tell me about your
awkward.
mother.
Yes.
Yes.
How are you doing, man?
I'm well. I really don't have any complaints. I'll be very, very upfront with you. The band's doing very, very solid right now. And the good thing is that everybody's healthy physically and mentally. So, knock on wood.
Well, the last time we talked, when the album got announced, when Devil got released, when you made the plans for this big tour with Godsmack,
right?
You called and we were talking about how excited you were to go out on the road with the Godsmack guys because you guys have been friends for so long and kind of coming up around the same time and both releasing new albums at the same time. And so you were super just excited about launching this tour and getting it out on the road, and now it's been, what, a month? A few weeks?
Yeah, I think tonight is I think it's the 14th show. We've got 7 more on the first leg, and then we do 12 on the second leg. But you know what? This has been something that me and Sully had talked about it started in December of last year. But everything that we set out to do with each other has happened thus far. There was a lot of planning ahead of time. So this, by all accounts, in my personal opinion, between our show and their show, it's exactly what you want a rock and roll show to be.
Actually, I have a question about that. So do you have to get together, because both bands put on huge shows.
Yes.
There's so much fire.
I know, there's a lot of fire. That's what I wanted to ask. Do you say, well, we're going to blow this up? Did he go, oh no, but we were going to blow that up? Or did you have to coordinate, like, we're going to use the lasers tonight? Or is the production thing something you both have to coordinate so there's not too much repetition?
One thing that we told each other was this: I'm not going to censor you, and you're not going to censor me. And the cool thing about that is I like the fact that it's like healthy competition, because every single night we're like, I'm coming for your ass. You know what I mean?
Well, you're behind the 8 ball tonight.
It's okay.
Because it's a home show for them.
No.
You guys have been so closely ingrained with Boston and WAAF for so long.
Yeah.
This is like a second home show for you, really.
100%. And we take it that way as well. Going all the way back to 2003 with the first album, all of Massachusetts has always really, for all intents and purposes, everyone's been so genuine in this part of the country from, for the last 18 years. But the dynamic, too, between myself and Sully, look, here's the skinny. I'm a huge Godsmack fan. I have been from day one. And this is kind of like one of those things for me where I get up and I admire those guys. I love the music. I always have. So the fact that we're being able to be on a tour with one another, there's a lot of respect for each other. But the point of interest for everybody was give the audience the night of their life. So both camps are really, really meticulous with each other about making sure that the wow factor is always there. Don't get me wrong, it's all about the songs. At the end of the day, the band should always be their own pyro. But when you're at this level, because none of this happened overnight for either band, we take that very, very seriously. This is our way of giving back to the audience. We don't want to walk out there with a few par cans, a little bit of a stage design, and here you go, we're just going to take all the money. It just doesn't work like that. This is probably the biggest production for us that we have ever put together and presented to an audience. It's like being in the 3rd grade forever. But their show is massively visual, and it is the 2 new songs that they're doing off of When Legends Rise, they're just going over fantastic. Bulletproof is such a rad song in the first place. But I gotta give them a lot of credit too for their new album. They really they went in different directions. Sonically, it's not like the other albums. It's still Godsmack, but it's really, really well done. And I think because of that camaraderie with each other and that respect, that's why these shows, we've been breaking attendance records, across North America with this tour. And that makes us feel good, but it's all about the audience.
Well, but we could talk about the Godsmack record, but we want to nerd out about your album because it's this concept record. And when Devil first came out, you were hinting about the idea of the concept and all that, but you didn't want to give too much away because Attention wasn't out yet. Mm-hmm. So now it's out.
Yeah.
So can we nerd
Yeah.
out?
I always
What would you
ask
like
this.
to know?
Well, when bands put out concept albums, I always ask this. Okay, you can check that off your list.
Right.
And you guys have a live album out. If that was on vinyl, would that be a double gatefold sleeve, you think?
Probably.
Okay.
Something of that
All right,
nature.
So now you have to do the rock opera.
Yes.
And then you also have to do the symphonic album, Shinedown with a symphony orchestra.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the
Yeah.
quintessential next step.
Yeah, you got to. Those are all the things a
And
band
then release
has to
that
do.
on vinyl.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
So you got the concept one down.
Right.
And if I could, I want to ask a little bit about the concept, which is fantastic. It's something that's so pertinent, it seems, right now, with people dealing with things in their lives and depression, and it's about coming out of that and getting past that. And I wanted to know, were there albums in your life that were like that, ones that you listened to that were inspirational, that you were feeling down, you could throw it on and you could feel like, okay, I feel better, like medicinal almost?
Instantaneously, even to this day, if I'm not in a good mood, I'll put on Super Unknown by Soundgarden, and I'm right back in the game.
So good.
Yeah.
It was very, the interesting thing about everything, and I'm not gonna be too long-winded with this, but
Go ahead, man. We're not going anywhere.
rewind just a minute with WAAF and Shinedown's career for a second, and our relationship with each other back to the Amaryllis record, because that first single was Bully. And at the time, everybody was talking about how bullying was an epidemic and we need to bring awareness to that. And it's kind of like, at that time, it was also, well, yeah, of course it's an epidemic. It happens every day. It's been happening from, it's been happening since the dawn of man, probably. And that was the dynamic of that, because it was a very bold statement with that song too, which was, we're not saying that you're going to be best friends with your bully. You know what I mean? That song was more about if somebody's coming into your personal space, where other people were talking about, turn the other cheek or try to get a relationship with them. Oh, the bully is probably the one that's bullied the most. No, he's not. If somebody's getting up in your grill and they're attacking you physically, mentally, and psychologically, attack them back. You know what I mean? Don't bow down to that.
Yeah, Mike.
What? So then when you fast forward, to where we are now with Attention, the big thing, and I don't mean to call it a thing, because once again, it's been happening since the dawn of time.
But it seems like an epidemic right
Absolutely,
now. And it's
absolutely.
touching people that never thought. I mean, you talk about Super Unknown being that album.
Right.
And then we lose Chris Cornell. It's
Right.
a perfect example of somebody you just thought was always going to be there.
So let me give you why Attention was born. First and foremost, there was a very, very specific song that was the sounding board for what the rest of the album became, and it was the song Get Up. Because Get Up, which is the second single right now that we've just released off of Attention, normally I am very quick with lyrics. Usually only takes me maybe 24 hours. If I can't get it in 24 hours, I'll usually move on to another song, because if I can't grab it quick, then there's something off. When Get Up was written, because Eric Bass, our bass player, he produced Attention, he engineered it, he also mixed it. I spent 179 days with him last year in Charleston, South Carolina. And a lot of the writing process was me and him. Also with Zach and Barry, of course, but a lot of time was spent just me and Eric. And the reality was, I knew what I was going to write Get Up about when I heard the demo, when we started putting it together, when the piano part had just been brought to me from Eric. It took me 11 days to basically be able to go to the studio and perform it, because we had the melody to the song, but I hadn't shown Eric the lyrics yet. So finally Eric was like, dude, let's just move on. Let's go do something else. It's been like, dude, we're going on 2 weeks. Let's do something else. And I said, no, I've got it. Are you ready today? And he was like, I've been ready. So I show up to the studio. He's like, let's go over it. And I said, no, is the mic live? And he's like, well, the mic is always live. So I go in. Took me about 6 hours to get it done. He put it together, but he told me, I asked him, I said, what time you want me to come in tomorrow? When you think you'll be done with it? He was like, give me a call around 3:30. The following day, it was about 1:15 in the afternoon, he called me early and he said, come on, I got it. I got to the studio, I walked in, he was like, push space bar, hit it, heard the song come back, stopped for a moment, I looked at him, I said, can I hear it one more time? Hit it again, song came back. The second time, I turned the chair around because he was behind me, and I said, you know what it's about, right? And he said, it's about me. And I said, are you mad at me? And he said, oh my God, dude, absolutely not. What a lot of people don't know about Eric is that he deals with clinical depression. And he's dealt with it since his early 20s. And when he joined the band, which it's interesting for me because it just feels like he's always been here. We watched him go through, we have for the better part of a decade plus, what his ups and downs are. And 4.5 years ago, he made a decision to take himself off medicine because he said he didn't feel like him anymore. And we supported him with it. So he has these very unique days, but it's a daily, not a fight. It's his understanding of himself. But the reality about Get Up, once Eric had presented to me, because I was so nervous to sing this for him, because I was afraid of hurting my friends' feelings. And I was afraid of crossing the line. And so what Eric did was, very vocally to everybody in the band, he said, let's just remove the line. And from that's when all the other songs came. And that's when the idea of the album being a story was presented. Because really, Get Up, it's a very necessary song. It's a very important song. But Attention, as a whole, Get Up is 4 minutes of a 51-minute story. And inside that, though, the whole dynamic of the album is the fact that I know for a fact, because I see it, a lot of times people are afraid to go outside of their comfort zone because they think they're gonna fail. You're gonna need to fail in life. If you don't fail, then you cannot push yourself to the next level. And the reason I say that is I think that a lot of people that deal with depression or anxiety, they're embarrassed and they feel ashamed because they think that if they talk about it, that people are going to judge them and make fun of them and tell them to just suck it up, when that's not what needs to be said. The very first step in all of this, with this awareness of what's going on right now, is don't be quiet. You can't be quiet. If it's in you, if it's bothering you, talk to someone, because that's the only way to get it out. It turns into a pressure cooker. And going back to what I said a moment ago about attention as a whole, we don't think that people will be defined by their failures. You'll be defined by the fact that you never give up. You may not get it every time, but don't stop being you and don't stop trying, because eventually you're gonna get it. Whatever it is for you, you will get there. It may not be overnight, but you're gonna get there.
Well, there's an inspiration and there's a moment that you have in the studio with the two of you.
Right.
And you listen to the song a couple times and he understands that it's about him.
Right.
And then you guys are still in the studio and you work on the song.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a moment, you remove that line and now you're gonna give all of this personal stuff
Completely open.
to all of us,
Yep.
And then he's got to play these songs every night in front of tens of thousands of people.
And he waits all day to do it.
Really?
Yes. He waits all day to do it.
So it's been a completely positive thing. Just has it been like a cathartic thing? What's it like
Oh my gosh,
before you go out on
absolutely.
stage and then when you leave it on the stage and you come off stage? How are you guys feeling? Because this is all really heavy stuff.
It is. I mean, look, right now, too, with this set list and what we're doing, because it's a co-headline also, it's 75 minutes. It gives each band about 12 songs, maybe 13. And so you can't go out and play all of Attention because, by the way, thank you so much for all the love that you have given us for the last almost 2 decades. But Get Up is our 26th single as a band. That is nothing that we take lightly. That is, in essence, and just point blank reality. The reason this band is where we are right now and how we really don't believe in a top, this station and both of you, everybody involved in AAF, is one of the reasons why we are able to do the show that you're going to see tonight and bring this to the public. Of course, we're going to play Devil tonight. We're going to play Get Up tonight. It's going to be interesting with the question you asked when there's more of attention, when we become more of just the headliner. We've got more than 75 minutes. Yes, then we will start to play more. When we were in Europe in June, we played a ton of it because we were doing festivals, but we were also we had like 7 headlining shows, and we were on stage for like 2 hours and 15 minutes in some of these markets, and it's a joy for him he'd tell you it's a joy to play all the material, but there was such a respect for each other. You got to understand something too. Not only does he play it every night, and it's a record definitely about all of us, but he gave it life. You know what I mean? Like the reason why Attention doesn't sound like everything else is because of him, because he doesn't look at, we've had a lot of great teachers in the studio, but he doesn't look at technical dynamic. He doesn't look at, it's not ones and zeros to him. He mixes everything, or he uses certain effects, or he does things a certain way because he's listening to his heart. So somebody might be like, well, why would you do this, and this? This doesn't make any sense. That's not the way you're supposed to do it. He's like, I don't care if that's the way you're supposed to do it. I'm going to do it this way because it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just the way he is.
Now, so before the line was taken away,
right,
was the decision to have him produce the album already made?
Right out of the gate.
Because I can't imagine this album sounding the way it does unless he produced it because it's such a personal experience. If you had brought in somebody else to produce these songs, it probably wouldn't sound anything like what it sounds like.
He has a really good way of expressing it in a very he's very much a gentleman, Eric. But he's like, I would rather go crazy making it rather than watch someone else go crazy trying to make it. And I always thought that was just brilliantly put because, he did go a little, batty at times because he's such a perfectionist and he hears things a certain way. But the unique thing about Eric, too, in the studio, there was not one day, not one, where he walked in with all of us in there. He was never negative. He was never unaware of what was going to happen. He always had an answer. He always had a position upon what we were doing that day, and he always had a freaking ridiculously great attitude. He never walked into the studio and said, I don't know, what do you think? He knew exactly what he wanted to do every single day. He's a born leader in the studio, So, that helped out a lot because that drive that he had drove us even more. Where he would hold his feet to the fire to give the public his absolute best as a band. As we're in there writing this record and putting this record together, we wanted to give not only our bandmate, but our producer everything we have too. So it's very, very positive.
We have to get you out of here because there's a whole bunch of AAF listeners that
I know there's like 70 of them or something like that.
They get to come backstage and hang out with you guys, which is awesome.
Yeah, they just saw me in my towel, some of them.
Well, you walked in here half naked.
I walked out of the shower and they were doing a tour of the backstage area. And then I came out. I came out because I thought I heard you. And I was going to walk in and be like, hey, girl. And I was like, oh, shit, there's like 25 people. I was like, hey, everybody.
I love it when a sweaty, shirtless guy walks into a room and hands me a bottle of tequila. Like, that's perfect.
Well, I was clean when I did it a minute ago.
You were clean. You were wet, though.
That's
and
why
at the time, I
was late because I was trying to smell better.
You smell nice.
Thank you.
But before you get out of
So do
here, you were talking about the old days, and I just want to remind you.
The old days.
Yeah, of the early days of Shinedown and WAAF.
I know.
When the first record first came out,
Yes.
and I bring it up because of this album purposefully. When you were up in the studio a really long time ago.
Yes.
You told me that if you ever got nominated for a Grammy,
We just were talking about this, by the way.
that I got to be your date.
100%.
And
That's
I got it on tape.
That still sticks.
And after everything that has been poured into this new album, just wanted to remind you, just saying.
That, you know what? I cannot wait to call you and go, hey,
Get a dress.
Get a dress. What do you think you want to wear?
Yes.
I want to make sure I match you.
Just want to make sure I don't got to pull out the old tape because I still got it.
No. It's
All
me.
right.
It's me and you, my
right.
friend. It is
All
me
right.
and you.
All right, well, we got to get you out of
Mike,
here.
you can come too if you
I
want.
won't embarrass
Can we
you
make him
guys.
wear a
That's okay.
dress, please?
I'll wear a dress. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that's no problem.
He's a good build. I think he's gonna.
Yeah.
I think he'll look good.
I think I could carry. Yeah, it's about A cup, right? I could fill a dress.
Sorry, man.
Sorry.
I got you there. All right, well, we got to let you go because we got to
Okay.
go outside and meet everybody.
I
So
know. We're
thank
very,
you
very
for,
excited. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thanks for checking out the video, and this is going to go up in the podcast too. And thanks for being a Mike and Mistress
filling in the
sandwich.
sandwich.
Yeah, you're like
That's
the
still
cream
kinda
in
weird.
an Oreo cookie.
One more time though, I gotta say, I know we gotta go, but I really just want to. I really do. Just thank you so
yeah,
much.
man. Thank you.
I mean it. You
We love you.
mean
You know we do.
the absolute world to me. And thank you to all the listeners and everybody involved with AAF. You know, onward and upward. We promise you we're never going to phone it in. So we have nothing but love and respect for everybody. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
All right, you got to cut the tape so he'll take his shirt back off.
Right. Yeah.